The vast emptiness of space stretched endlessly, filled only with the quiet hum of distant stars. In the darkness, a massive alien ship glided smoothly. It belonged to the Zarthan Empire, one of the oldest and most powerful civilizations in the galaxy. For thousands of years, they had ruled the stars, conquering weaker worlds and expanding their reach. But tonight, their scanners picked up something unusual, something that did not belong. Commander Threx Varion, leader of the Zarthan reconnaissance fleet, leaned forward in his command chair. His sharp eyes watched the data streams on the glowing console. "Report," he ordered in his deep, steady voice. "Sir, we've detected an unknown transmission," replied Lieutenant Rahl, the ship's sensor officer. His hands moved quickly across the holographic screen. "It's faint, but it's definitely artificial. The origin point is from the uncharted system near a yellow star." Threx frowned. The yellow star was not on their official maps. "Run a scan of the surrounding area," he said. "Is there a colony there?" "No, Commander," Rahl answered. "No known settlements. The system is empty, or at least it should be." For a long moment, silence filled the bridge. The only sound came from the soft beeping of the instruments. Then the transmission repeated, slow, deliberate, and chillingly calm. "Greetings. From humanity." The crew exchanged uneasy looks. "Humanity?" one of them whispered. "What is that?" Another officer chuckled nervously. "Probably a minor world. Some primitive species trying to sound important." But Threx didn't smile. Something about the tone of that message disturbed him. It wasn't a cry for help or a desperate signal. It sounded confident. "Record that signal," Threx ordered. "Set a course for that system. We will see what these humans are." The massive fleet turned, engines flaring blue against the black sea of stars. As they entered hyperspace, the crew felt a mix of excitement and unease. The Zarthans had discovered hundreds of new races, but never one bold enough to send a message across the void. After several hours, they dropped out of faster-than-light travel. Before them shone a small yellow star, Sul. Around it orbited a few rocky planets and gas giants, nothing special. But near the third planet, something unexpected appeared on their radar. "Commander, I'm detecting a vessel," Rahl said. "Small, but moving at incredible speed. Faster than any non-Zarthan ship we've recorded." Threx stood up. "Put it on screen." The image appeared. A sleek, silver-gray ship with sharp wings and glowing engines. It looked far too advanced for a minor species. Its surface reflected the light of the nearby sun, and strange symbols marked its hull. One of them was clear even at a distance, a blue circle with a white line through it. "That's human technology?" Threx asked quietly. The crew ran checks, scanned energy signatures, and searched the Galactic archives. Nothing matched. "Sir," said Rahl, "this ship's power output is higher than our destroyers. And it's smaller by half." "How?" Threx muttered. "How can a species from a primitive world create this?" The alien commander opened a comm channel. "Unidentified vessel. This is Commander Threx Varion of the Zarthan Empire. You are trespassing in restricted space. Identify yourself." For a few seconds there was only static. Then a voice came through, calm and human. "This is Captain Elias Ward representing Earth. We are not trespassing, Commander. We're exploring." The entire bridge went silent. The voice sounded young, confident. Too confident for someone surrounded by 12 warships. Threx narrowed his eyes. "Exploring?" he repeated. "You dare speak to me as an equal?" Elias's voice replied softly, almost with amusement. "Equal? Commander, you have no idea what's coming." Before anyone could respond, the human ship vanished. Completely. Every radar, every sensor went blank. It was as if the ship had never existed. "Find it," Threx shouted. "It's impossible to disappear like that." The crew worked frantically, their screens flashing red. Then, without warning, a pulse of blue light cut across space. One of the Zarthan ships went dark. Then another. Then a third. "They're disabled," Rahl shouted. "Our shields are collapsing. Whatever weapon that is, it's beyond anything we've seen." Threx's heart pounded. "Trace it. Find where it's coming from." But the sensors showed nothing. The human ship remained invisible. Then a calm voice filled their communications again. "You came looking for humans. Now you found us." Every alien officer froze. The arrogance in the human's tone was shocking. The Zarthans were feared across thousands of systems. Yet this lone pilot spoke as if he was in control. Threx growled. "You think you can threaten the Zarthan Empire? We could crush your world with one fleet." Ilias laughed quietly. You could try. Suddenly the sensors came back online and the human ship reappeared right in front of the Zarthan flagship, less than a kilometer away. Its engines burned bright blue, its hull glowing with strange energy patterns. It was not just advanced. It was beautiful and terrifying. For a moment, both ships faced each other in silence. Then the human vessel tilted slightly as if nodding and shot upward at impossible speed, faster than any known drive. Within seconds it was gone. The crew sat frozen. Threx felt a deep chill crawl down his spine. What kind of beings are these humans? He whispered. No one answered. Hours later, the report was sent back to the Zarthan High Council. The data was incomplete, but the message was clear. A new species had appeared. One that defied the laws of physics and dared to challenge an empire. Across the fleet, rumors spread like wildfire. Some said the human ship was a ghost. Others said it was a weapon built by ancient gods. But deep down, everyone felt the same truth. Something powerful had awakened in the galaxy, and for the first time in centuries, the Zarthans were afraid. The Zarthan fleet floated silently in orbit near the yellow star. The crew worked in confusion and fear. For the first time in generations, the great Zarthan Empire had faced something they could not explain. The unknown human ship had disappeared without a trace. Commander Threx stood on the observation deck watching the stars. His reflection looked older than usual, the lines on his scaled face deeper. The hum of the ship was the only sound around him. He had fought many battles and crushed many worlds, but this was different. Lieutenant Rahl approached carefully. Commander, we've searched every sector. The human ship is gone. There are no engine trails, no energy residue, nothing. Threx turned slowly. No ship can disappear completely, Lieutenant. Not even the gods of the old worlds could do that. Rahl hesitated. Then perhaps, sir, they are not just another race. Threx glared. Don't start believing in fairy tales. They are mortal like us. They just have something we don't understand yet. Still, his words didn't convince even himself. The humans had done the impossible, and every officer on board could feel it. The once proud Zarthans were shaken. Hours passed. The fleet drifted near the small blue planet called Earth, scanning silently. The readings showed signs of advanced technology hidden beneath the atmosphere. Massive energy fields, cloaked satellites, and defense systems that shouldn't exist on a planet so small. Commander, Rahl said quietly, this world is heavily protected. Their defenses are masked, but not completely. They have cloaking fields across the entire planet. Threx's eyes narrowed. Impossible. No empire has cloaking of that scale. Not even the core worlds? Yet it's there, Rahl replied. And I think they wanted us to see it. Threx felt a chill. You mean? This was a message. Before he could say more, a loud alarm echoed through the bridge. Contact detected, shouted the sensor officer. Multiple ships approaching at high velocity. Everyone turned to the display. Dozens of small signals appeared, heading straight for the Zarthan fleet. The shapes were compact, sharp, and fast, human ships. Raise shields. Threx ordered. Prepare for defensive formation. Within seconds, the dark emptiness of space lit up as 20 human vessels surrounded the Zarthan fleet. They didn't attack. They just hovered there, glowing blue in the starlight. Their designs were elegant, almost beautiful, each one silent and steady like predators studying their prey. A voice broke through the comms again. Calm, steady human. This is Captain Elias Ward of the Earth Alliance. You are entering a restricted system. Turn around and leave immediately. Threx clenched his fists. Captain Ward, we are on a mission of exploration. You attacked my ships without warning. Explain yourself. Elias's voice didn't change. You sent 12 warships toward our home system. That's not exploration, Commander. That's intimidation. You wanted to see humanity's strength. Now you have. Threx hissed, his pride burning. Do you have any idea who you're speaking to? The Zarthan Empire has conquered and enslaved hundreds of worlds, Elias interrupted. We know who you are, and we are not one of them. The line went quiet. Every Zarthan on the bridge stared at the comm screen, waiting for the human to continue. You stand at the edge of a new era, Commander, Elias said softly. You can turn around and report what you've seen, or you can find out what happens when you don't. Threx's jaw tightened. You dare threaten me? No, the human said. I'm warning you. Before Threx could reply, one of the human ships fired a narrow blue beam into the void, not at the Zarthans, but into empty space. A huge section of dark matter vaporized instantly, revealing a hidden asteroid base that had been cloaked for centuries. The Zarthan crew gasped. That base was invisible to our scanners, Raoul whispered. They revealed it with a single shot. Their weapons can see through cloaking fields. The human fleet didn't move closer. They simply waited. Threx felt his pride crumble under the weight of fear. He was used to commanding victory, not facing ghosts that obeyed no known law of physics. He wanted to fight, but something deeper inside warned him. If he fired, he would lose everything. He took a deep breath and spoke. Captain Ward, the Zarthan Empire does not seek war. We were only investigating the signal. There was a long silence. Then Elias's voice returned. Good. Then take what you've learned and go home. The communication ended. The human fleet began to move away, their ships aligning in perfect formation. One by one, they vanished into thin air, disappearing from every scanner. The silence that followed was heavier than before. The crew stared at the empty space where the human vessels had been. Commander, said Raoul quietly. What are your orders? Threx looked out the window, his eyes reflecting the blue light of Earth below. We retreat, he said slowly. And we tell the Council that we are not alone. And that power has a new name. As the Zarthan ships turned and jumped to hyperspace, Threx's mind raced. Who are these humans? How had they hidden such technology from the rest of the galaxy? And why reveal themselves now? Somewhere deep in his heart, Threx knew this was not the end. The humans hadn't shown their true strength. They had only shown mercy. Far behind them, on the other side of the solar system, Captain Elias Ward watched the Zarthan fleet disappear. His expression was calm but serious. Around him, the command deck buzzed with quiet energy. Commander, said his first officer, they're gone. Elias nodded. Good. Now they'll tell the others. Do you think they'll come back? Elias looked out the window at the distant stars. Oh, they will, he said softly. And when they do, the galaxy will finally understand what humanity really is. The stars outside flickered. The human fleet vanished once more, leaving no trace behind. And somewhere in the darkness, the galaxy began to whisper a new name. Humanity. Far away from the edge of the Sol system, deep within the shining capital world of the Zarthan Empire, silence filled the Grand Council chamber. The air was thick with tension. Commander Threx Varian stood in front of the High Lords, his scales dim under the bright golden lights. So, said Lord Kelnor, head of the council, his voice calm but sharp, you mean to tell us, Commander, that a small unknown race disabled your ships? And then vanished? Threx bowed his head. Yes, my lord. Their technology surpasses anything we have seen. Their ships move faster, their weapons are invisible, and their defenses are beyond understanding. The council murmured in disbelief. Zarthans prided themselves on being the most advanced beings in the galaxy. No one had ever dared to humiliate them. Lord Kelnor leaned forward. Do you realize what this means, Threx? If what you say is true, then humanity threatens the balance of power in the galaxy. We cannot allow that. Another lord hissed. A single human ship humbled our fleet. Imagine what an entire human armada could do. Kelnor's eyes burned with pride. Then we will crush them before they grow stronger. Prepare the first Imperial fleet. I want their planet under our control within the next solar cycle. Threx hesitated. My lord, with respect. Attacking them now would be unwise. We know nothing about their full capabilities. If we provoke them, Kelnor slammed his hand against the table. Silence. The Zarthan Empire bows to no one. You will lead the fleet yourself, Commander, and this time bring me victory. Threx's heart sank. He knew what awaited them in Sol space, but defying a direct order meant death. So he bowed again. As you command, my lord. Within days, the largest fleet in Zarthan history was ready. 200 warships, each armed with enough firepower to level continents, began their journey toward Earth. The stars themselves seemed to tremble under their engines. As the fleet entered human space, the soldiers on board whispered nervously. No one wanted to admit it, but fear had spread among them. The last time they faced humans, they never even saw their attackers. Commander, said Raoul, standing beside Threx on the bridge. Scanners show no resistance. No ships, no defenses. The system appears empty. Threx frowned. Too quiet. They know we're coming. The fleet slowed near the blue planet. Still no sign of movement. The silence was unnatural. The humans were waiting. Deploy reconnaissance drones, Threx ordered. Let's see if they're hiding. The drones spread out across the system. Minutes passed. Then the first transmission came through, a distorted image, static, and flashes of light. "Commander," Raal whispered. "The drones, they're being destroyed, one by one." "How?" Threx demanded. Before Raal could answer, the main view screen lit up. Hundreds of small blue dots appeared on the edge of their radar, fast-moving, approaching rapidly. "Contacts," the navigation officer shouted. Unknown ships, hundreds of them, closing in at impossible speed. The human fleet had arrived. Sleek silver vessels burst out of the void, engines glowing like miniature stars. They didn't move in chaos. They moved like a single living creature, each ship perfectly synchronized with the others. Threx's breath caught. "By the stars." Then before he could speak another word, the space around them erupted in blue light. The Zarthan ships trembled as invisible energy fields surrounded them. Systems flickered. Shields collapsed. Weapons failed to respond. "Power drain detected," an officer shouted. "They're disabling our ships remotely." "How is that possible?" Threx roared. "Counter it!" But there was no counter. The Zarthan's mighty fleet was paralyzed, drifting helplessly in open space. And then, from the blackness, one human ship approached. Larger than the others, darker, almost like a shadow. It came to a stop right in front of the flagship. The comm screen flickered. The same calm voice filled the bridge. "Commander Threx Varian, we warned you not to return." Threx stood tall, his pride barely hiding his fear. "Captain Ward, you think disabling my ships will stop the Empire? There are thousands more behind us." Elias's voice was steady. "Then they will share your fate." A hum began to rise in the background, low and powerful. The human flagship's hull glowed with deep blue veins of energy. "Energy spike," Raal shouted. "It's charging something massive." "Brace for impact," Threx commanded. Then it happened. A blinding beam of blue light spread out in every direction. Not a weapon, but a wave. It passed through every Zarthan ship, through every hull, every system. And then silence, no explosions, no damage. But every weapon, every engine, every piece of technology stopped working. The entire fleet went dark. Threx looked around in disbelief. "What have you done?" "We've shown restraint," Elias said. "Your ships are intact. Your soldiers live. But your empire must learn something today, Commander. Power without understanding is weakness." The comm signal ended. The human ship slowly turned away. Its engines flared once more, and within seconds the entire human fleet vanished into the void. Raal whispered, "They defeated 200 ships, without firing a single shot." Threx said nothing. He could feel the eyes of his crew on him, waiting for orders, but there was nothing to command. The Zarthan Empire's most powerful fleet had been humiliated again. As the silence stretched, Raal finally spoke. "Commander, what will we tell the Council?" Threx's voice was quiet but steady. "Tell them the truth. Tell them humanity doesn't fight wars. They end them." The fleet drifted in the darkness, powerless and ashamed. The stars around them glittered coldly, as if watching in judgment. Back on Earth, Captain Elias Ward stood in the command deck of his ship, watching the faint signals fade from his screens. His crew waited for instructions. "Send the data to Terra Command," he said. "Let them know the test was successful. The message is clear now." His second officer nodded. "And the Zarthans?" Elias smiled faintly. "They'll go home. They'll spread the word, and the galaxy will finally understand what they've awakened." Outside, Earth's blue light shimmered against the blackness. The stars seemed quieter now, almost respectful. Humanity had spoken, not through war, but through power that no empire could match. And somewhere deep in the cold heart of the galaxy, every ruler began to whisper the same fearful words: "The humans are coming." For 3 full solar cycles, the Zarthan fleet drifted back toward its homeworld, silent and broken. No songs of victory echoed through its halls. No proud speeches filled the comm channels. Only the quiet hum of powerless engines and the heavy shame of defeat. When Commander Threx Varian stepped once again into the great council chamber, the High Lords waited with cold expressions. He bowed his head, feeling the weight of 1,000 eyes upon him. Lord Kaelnor spoke first. "Report." Threx took a slow breath. "The humans possess power we cannot match. They disabled our entire fleet without firing a weapon. They warned us not out of fear but out of control. They could have destroyed us." The hall erupted in whispers. Some lords hissed in disbelief. Others whispered prayers to forgotten gods. Kaelnor's eyes narrowed. And what message did they leave, Commander? Threx lifted his gaze. That humanity means no harm, but they will never kneel. The room fell silent. The words echoed off the golden walls like thunder. Never kneel. The phrase felt heavy like a promise carved into the future. Across the galaxy, the story spread faster than light. In the trade stations of the Vorlon Confederacy, merchants replayed the human transmission again and again, amazed by the clarity of the voice and the calmness of the message. In the floating cities of Narath Prime, scholars debated endlessly. How could a species from a backwater world create technology that outclassed the core empires? On the mining moons of the Draken Syndicate, soldiers whispered about the blue light that froze an entire fleet without harm, no matter where one went. The same name was spoken with awe and fear: humans. Inside a hidden command base deep beneath Earth's surface, Captain Elias Ward stood before the Council of Earth Alliance Command. Holographic projections of human leaders surrounded him. Men and women from different nations, all united under one flag for the first time in history. An old admiral leaned forward. So they saw what we wanted them to see? Elias nodded. Yes, sir. We revealed a fraction of our power, enough to make them think twice. They'll return home and spread the story. The galaxy now knows we exist. The admiral's wrinkled face softened. Good, we've stayed hidden long enough. A younger officer frowned. But sir, revealing ourselves could bring war. What if they come back stronger? Elias turned toward him. Then they'll learn again. There was quiet laughter around the table, but everyone knew he meant it. The project, codenamed Phoenix Protocol, had worked perfectly. For decades, humanity had watched the galaxy from the shadows, listening, learning, preparing. When they first discovered faster-than-light travel, they also discovered something else. The galaxy was dangerous. Empires rose and fell, enslaving or consuming weaker species. Humanity had chosen a different path: grow in silence, strike only when ready. Now, the time for hiding was over. On the far side of the galaxy, within the marble halls of the Galactic Union Assembly, chaos broke out. Representatives of dozens of empires shouted over one another. The Zarthans are lying, one reptilian envoy screamed. No primitive race can do what they claim. Another delegate, her crystalline body shining under the lights, replied, The recordings are verified. The energy signatures are real. Humanity exists, and they have technology older than our own. The room descended into uproar. Some demanded immediate military action. Others pleaded for peace. For the first time in 1,000 years, the galaxy's rulers were uncertain of their future. Finally, the Union Chancellor stood and raised his voice. We will send envoys to this Earth. If they are peaceful, we must welcome them. If they are dangerous, he paused, looking down, then may the stars protect us. While diplomats argued and soldiers prepared, something strange began to happen. Across countless worlds, simple people, farmers, miners, traders, spoke the human message with admiration. Humanity means no harm, but we will never kneel. Those words became a symbol of resistance. Oppressed colonies began to paint a single blue circle on their walls, the mark of Earth. To the weak and forgotten, humans were not monsters. They were hope. Commander Threx sat alone in his quarters aboard the Zarthan flagship. The council had stripped him of rank, blaming him for failure. But deep inside, he didn't care. What haunted him was not defeat. It was the look in Captain Ward's eyes when he spoke. He had seen many warriors, many conquerors. But Elias Ward's calmness wasn't arrogance. It was conviction. He truly believed that humanity was unstoppable. Rahl entered quietly. Commander, sir, he corrected himself awkwardly. There are rumors. Other empires are moving toward human space. Scouts, spies, observers. Threx stared at the stars beyond the window. Let them. They'll see what we saw. What if the humans attack again? Threx gave a small, tired smile. Then we should pray they choose mercy again. Meanwhile, on Earth, the world changed overnight. The once divided nations worked as one. Engineers from different continents worked side by side, building new ships under the Sol Defense Initiative. AI systems calculated threat models, while scientists refined the technology that had stunned the galaxy. Every move was strategic, every message carefully designed. Humanity wasn't just defending itself, it was shaping the galaxy's story. One evening, Elias Ward stood on a balcony overlooking the training fields. Thousands of new pilots marched below, their armor glinting in the orange sunset. His second officer approached. "Sir, do you think they'll understand the message?" Elias smiled faintly. "They will. Some will fear it. Some will respect it. But all will remember it." The officer hesitated. "And if they attack again?" Elias's gaze shifted toward the horizon, where the stars were just beginning to appear. "Then we remind them who taught the galaxy to stand still." Far beyond Earth, in a lonely observatory on the edge of another empire, a young alien scientist stared at the transmission one last time. The human voice echoed softly from the speakers. "Humanity means no harm, but we will never kneel," she whispered to herself. "If that is true, maybe the galaxy still has hope." And as she looked out at the endless night, a new light appeared among the stars, blue bright. And rising, humanity's message had been delivered. The galaxy had heard it, and the universe would never be the same again. The galaxy could not rest. Even after weeks passed since the human message, every world, every system, every empire still spoke one name: Earth. From the shining capitals of the core worlds to the frozen mining stations in the outer rim, rumors turned into stories, stories turned into myths. Some said humans were ancient gods who had returned. Others said they were a weapon created by a long-dead race. But no one truly knew, and that mystery made them even more terrifying. In the deep space archives of the Galactic Union, a group of scientists and historians gathered in secret. They called themselves the Seekers of Origin. Their leader, a pale-skinned scholar named Dr. Rin Solar, stood before a massive hologram of a spiral galaxy. "We found something," she said quietly. "A record that predates even the Union's foundation." The others leaned closer. "It speaks of a species known as Homo sapiens, the first explorers to reach beyond their home star. The data is damaged, but it mentions something called the Ancient War of Light." Another scientist frowned. "That war is a myth. No species could have survived that long ago." Rin smiled faintly. "And yet, here they are again." She tapped a key. The hologram zoomed in on a small glowing point, the Sol system. According to the recovered files, humans once traveled this galaxy millennia ago. Then they vanished completely. "Vanished?" one of the researchers asked. "No," Rin corrected. "They erased themselves. Every trace, every map, every name." The room went silent. The implication was clear. Humanity had not just evolved, they had returned. Meanwhile, on Earth, Captain Elias Ward was summoned to the central chamber of the Phoenix Command. The room was dark, lit only by a rotating hologram of the galaxy. A woman stood at the center, dressed in a silver uniform, the director of the Phoenix Protocol. Her name was Admiral Kira Voss. "You did well, Elias," she said, her voice calm but heavy. "The galaxy now knows we exist, but the real test begins now." Elias folded his hands behind his back. "The Union is investigating. They've found fragments of our old records. It's only a matter of time before they uncover the truth." Kira nodded slowly. "Then we must decide, do we tell them, or let them fear the myth?" He hesitated. "Maybe it's time they know what really happened." Kira turned toward the hologram. "You think they're ready for the truth?" He looked at the stars spinning before them. "They weren't ready 1,000 years ago, but if we don't tell them now, they'll repeat the same mistakes." Centuries ago, before the galaxy's current empires existed, humanity had already reached the stars. They built colonies, alliances, and wonders. They shared their knowledge freely, but with knowledge came envy. The early alien empires feared humanity's progress. They joined forces and turned on them. A war unlike any other followed, the War of Light. Humanity fought not for power but for survival. Billions died. Whole planets turned to ash, and when victory was near, humans did something no one expected. They disappeared. They destroyed their own networks, erased their presence from every star chart, and sealed their technology beneath Earth's crust. For thousands of years, they slept, waiting, watching, until now. Back in the Galactic Union, Dr. Rin Solar presented her findings to the Senate. When she revealed the ancient human archives, the chamber fell into chaos. "You're telling us these creatures ruled the stars before we even existed?" one senator roared. Rin's voice remained steady. "Not ruled, protected, they built peace. Until others broke it. And now they're back, another shouted. To finish what they started? Rin hesitated. No, I think they came back to make sure it never happens again. As news of humanity's ancient past spread, panic swept through many worlds. Some governments prepared for war, while others sent envoys pleading for peace. In the Zarthan Empire, Commander Threx Varian, now living in exile, watched the Galactic broadcasts. He felt both fear and respect. He had seen human mercy up close, and that was the only thing keeping the galaxy alive. They could have destroyed us, he muttered to himself, but they didn't. Maybe they're not our enemies after all. On Earth, the Phoenix Council held its final meeting. The time had come to decide what to do next. Admiral Voss spoke to her commanders. The galaxy knows who we were. Now they must learn who we've become. Elias Ward stood at her side, silent. He knew what she meant. Humanity couldn't hide any longer. Our mission, Voss continued, is no longer survival. It's balance. If the galaxy fears us, they'll destroy themselves trying to stop us. If they trust us, maybe there's a chance for peace. Elias nodded. Then we lead by example. She turned toward him. And if they attack again, he smiled. Then we remind them why we disappeared. Days later, a transmission was sent from Earth to every known system. It was short, simple, and calm, spoken by Elias himself. To all species of the galaxy, humanity has returned not as conquerors but as witnesses. We once fought a war that almost ended everything. We will not let that happen again. We mean no harm, but we will defend life, every life. The age of silence is over. The age of understanding begins. The message spread faster than any before it. Some celebrated, some trembled. But one truth united them all. The humans were real and they were watching. Far across the galaxy, Dr. Rin Solar watched the human broadcast with tears in her eyes. They were never monsters, she whispered. They were the guardians we forgot. In that moment, across thousands of worlds, something changed. For the first time in 1,000 years, the galaxy dared to hope. And far beyond the stars, deep in the endless black, ancient machines awakened, echoes from humanity's forgotten empire, waiting for their call to rise again. The truth about humanity was no longer a secret. It was a warning and a promise. Humanity had returned and the galaxy would never be the same again. The galaxy stood on the edge of a new age. For the first time in history, every empire, every colony, and every hidden world knew the truth. Humanity had returned. And with their return came a choice, peace or destruction. In the center of the Galactic Union, the Great Council chamber was filled with tension. Thousands of voices shouted, argued, pleaded. Holographic screens displayed the human broadcast on a loop. We will defend life, every life. Those words played again and again, echoing through marble halls like a heartbeat. The Union Chancellor slammed his staff down. Enough! We must decide our next step. A tall, armored delegate hissed, we should strike now. Before they grow stronger, another voice, softer, replied. You've seen what they can do. They could have destroyed the Zarthan fleet and didn't. They chose mercy. Do you really think war will save us? The hall fell silent. The galaxy's greatest powers were terrified, not of humanity's weapons, but of their restraint. On Earth, inside the Phoenix Command Citadel, Captain Elias Ward stared at the massive display before him. Thousands of alien fleets were moving, some toward Earth, others pulling back in fear. Admiral Kira Voss walked beside him. They're dividing. Half want to meet, half want to attack. Elias didn't look away from the screen. Then we prepare for both, Voss sighed. You think peace is still possible? He nodded slowly. Peace always starts with risk. A day later, the largest transmission in galactic history was prepared. Every world received coordinates, a neutral system on the edge of human and alien space. It was there that humanity invited the galaxy to talk. They called it the Dawn Summit. For weeks, fleets from every empire gathered near a golden star named Helion 9. No one dared fire a shot. Human ships appeared last, sleek, black, silent. They moved like shadows, each glowing faintly blue. When the human flagship Eidolon arrived, the entire system seemed to hold its breath. Elias Ward stepped into the summit hall, a vast structure built by both human and alien engineers. It floated in the void, half metal, half glass, surrounded by drifting light. Representatives from over 100 species stood waiting. Some watched him with awe, others with hatred. He walked to the center podium, his expression calm but firm. "Many of you think humanity came to rule," he began. "You're wrong. We came to remind you that the stars belong to no one." Murmurs rippled through the hall. "You fight over borders, power, and fear. We once did the same. It destroyed everything. We rebuilt from nothing, not to conquer but to learn." A reptilian warlord interrupted, slamming a clawed hand on the table. "And what gives you the right to decide our fate, human?" Elias turned to him. "Nothing gives us the right. But something gives us the responsibility. We remember the last time the galaxy burned." He gestured and the room darkened. Holographic images appeared. Ancient battlefields, shattered planets, and burning skies. Gasps filled the chamber as the past unfolded before their eyes. "This is what your ancestors did," Elias said softly. "This is what ours tried to stop. And this is what we will not allow again." Far away in the shadow of a dying moon, something stirred. Unidentified fleets, rogue warbands, old enemies of the Union were gathering. They had no interest in peace. They wanted revenge. When their ships appeared on long-range sensors, panic spread through the summit. "They're coming here," shouted a delegate. "They'll destroy us all." Elias raised his hand. "Stay calm." He opened a channel to the rogue fleet. "This is Captain Elias Ward of Earth. Turn back." A cold voice replied through static. "You think your ancient machines can scare us, human? We will burn your world and the others with it." The signal ended. Admiral Voss's voice came through the comm. "Orders, sir?" Ilias's eyes darkened. "Activate the shield grid. No one fires unless I say so." Moments later, the rogue fleet entered the system, hundreds of warships glowing red with power. They fired first. Blinding light filled space. Explosions rippled through the darkness. But the summit hall held strong. The human shield grid shimmered blue, absorbing every blast. Elias stood motionless. "Don't respond," he ordered. The alien delegates stared at him, confused. "They're attacking!" "Why aren't you fighting back?" "Because they need to see what mercy looks like," he said quietly. Then he gave one command. "Pulse wave. Now." A deep hum filled the air. The Eidolon released a silent burst of blue energy that rippled across the void. Within seconds, the rogue ships froze in place, every weapon, every engine dead. Not destroyed, just stopped. The transmission opened again. Elias's voice echoed across the fleet. "You wanted war. You found humanity instead. Stand down." No one spoke. Even the attackers, helpless and surrounded, could only listen. When the silence finally ended, applause rose. Not from humans, but from the alien delegates inside the summit. For the first time in history, the galaxy had witnessed a victory without blood. Elias turned back to the council. "The universe doesn't need another war. It needs memory. We will share what we know. We will help you rebuild, defend, and grow. But remember this, peace is not weakness. Mercy is not fear." The Union Chancellor stood, tears glimmering in his eyes. "Then let this day be remembered. The day the galaxy stood together." Years passed. The Dawn Treaty became the foundation of a new alliance. Humans and aliens working as one. Old borders faded. New dreams began. Commander Threx Varian was given back his rank, now serving as liaison between the Zarthans and humans. Dr. Rin Solar became head of the Galactic History Corps, teaching future generations the truth about the War of Light. And Captain Elias Ward, the man who made the galaxy stand still, finally returned to Earth, quietly, without ceremony. He stood on a hill overlooking the shining cities below. Children played in the grass, their laughter echoing under the blue sky. He smiled softly. Admiral Voss approached. "It's done. The treaty's holding," Elias nodded. "Then maybe the galaxy finally learned." She looked at him. "What will you do now?" He gazed at the stars. "The same thing we've always done, watch, protect, and wait." Above them, countless lights flickered in the heavens, some human, some alien, all shining together. For the first time in forever, the galaxy was united, not by power, not by fear, but by understanding, and as the suns of 1,000 worlds rose across the void, a new age began. The final dawn. Humanity had kept its promise. The galaxy would never kneel again,